Alright, so this is going to be the Radahn filter. What the hell? That's weird. Alright, so this is going to be the Radahn fight. I'm basically gonna go into the fight as quick as possible. But before I even do that, I found something that's very interesting. I never realized I never mentioned it about the game before, about its actually concept art, and as well as is planning on becoming a professional concept artist, or I believe it's located within the. This is a good example, especially if you need to know how to do things based on day and night. This would be the way to do it. Specifically night. So people say they like the Nocturne Eternal City, how it looks at night, how everything's lit up, and how it looks like they're in space, like the underground cave area, like looks like it's in space. Well, that's good. That's because they decided to do something that I wouldn't say has never been done before, but it looks more interesting. Like it's always night within this location because it's underground. And one of the great part about doing something like this in the sky is that it's not the best design of the sky itself, because it could be due to the magic within the enemies are down here, or due to the magic of beacons, or whatever magic is making the ceiling and everything light up blue, like it's the star sky. So to describe this is what is called a space environmental art. This is part of environmental art, especially spatial environmental art. And I never realized that I did speak on this before, because the whole point of my videos is to get concepts so I could do better things. And there goes the internet. So I'll speak, if my internet goes down, I'll just play this offline, play the Radahn fight. But I want to speak on this specifically before anything else. So in order to do something like this type of space, you first make sure you get not a black background. Make sure you're painting as well. And then you work your way forward, or you work your way on top of it. But I don't mean like coloring on top of it, but is to make sure you have your background set before you do anything with regards to forward designs or forward artwork. So your background should always be, if you're going to make a sky or anything a resemblance of a sky at night, should be navy blue, like dark navy blue. Never pick black, because people think black represents space, and the stars in the sky is what make space lit up and everything, otherwise it'd be pitch black. But that is technically true, but how actually space looks, it doesn't look completely black. It does have tints of blue and yellow within it, but those yellows are sometimes faded away by the distance, and so it looks white. So you would start your spatial area with an extremely dark navy blue, and then you would slowly, if you're using like a brush, or if not even a brush, like say if you're using like color pencil, you would use the lightest type of color pencil to represent like some type of degradation or shading, and the lightest type of blue, but a blue that would mix with the navy blue background. So, but you will slightly put it on the actual background itself, very slightly, and put it on the background and make it look like there are clouds in the sky, like how it's represented here. So you have the navy blue background, deep navy blue, and then at the below section here you have nice little cloudy looking penciled in, like if you're using color pencil, very light blue on top of that. So you could see some of the navy blue behind the light blue, but at the same time the light blue is kind of dominant. So what they made it to make the light blue shows a little bit more, they put more light blue, but that's what you would do to show that sky is not completely dominated by the navy blue. And then the second thing you would do, you would pick another type of color, primarily a purplish type of color, but very, very light purple. And you kind of put it in between the light blue and the navy blue, and you slightly put it in there, very slightly around the edges of the light blue. And then you make sure you fade it out, like when you're doing shading or shading of anything, you shade it out, so that the dominant part of the actually purple is on top of the blue, and you shade that out so you can't see it, and then you mix it into the light blue, so that you see that there's some representation of purple on top of the light blue. As you can see here, the light blue doesn't look completely light blue. There's some traces of purple, but you could hardly see it, that it doesn't even look like there's actually purple there, or violet, or any type of color that gives that type of mixed saturation. And then after you do something like that, you put some black into it. You put some black over the light blue and over the purple, and then you slowly make sure the opacity of the black is thinned out a little, so it makes sure it looks like there's deeper clouds on top of lighter clouds, and then you layer the lighter clouds on top of those deeper clouds as well, to make sure it looks like they're a combination of different type of cloudiness within the sky. But we're talking about space here, not the actual sky itself. So you don't want it to actually look like a sky itself. You want it to look like space. So you want the actual combination of the blue to actually follow a specific line. You don't want the light blue to be separated from each other like clouds in the sky. You want them to follow a line, a direction, because that's how, like, constellation within the sky, they follow a certain line pattern. And then you have the stars that are scattered everywhere. But those clouds, those line clouds, those very light line clouds in those deep I wouldn't call it line clouds, more like line hazes that you see in the sky, or like distance constellation or galaxies that are so far that you can only see the haze of their existence. And that's what it is. And there's also the factor that it's the combination of your atmospheric temperature mixing in with everything that's happening in space as well. So when you have a deep blue and a combination of light blue, it's typically because one, the atmosphere of your hemisphere, your stratosphere, so on and so forth, are mixed in with the heat of the sun or whatever the atmosphere outside of the planet, and to give you that temperature. So when things look like they're static, that they're stronger in certain areas, more potent in blue in certain areas, and lighter in blue, that's also a representation of your atmosphere, not just of things that you see in space, but a representation of the atmosphere itself, where it's most dense. So if you can't do it based on what you see, like distant galaxies in the sky, do it based on the density of the atmosphere itself, based on levels of the atmosphere. I guess you could say the ecosystem of the atmosphere is something to factor in, but I never use the ecosystem the system of the ecosystem. I never use that within art. I usually use the galactic or the galaxy form of constellations to do a sky. And then after you go from that, after you have your dark navy blue, then you have your light blue, then you have your purple, then you have your blacks on top of your lights, and then your lights back on top of your blacks. You then make sure it's all thinned out. Now you say, if you're using color pencil and all this stuff, how can you make it actually look like how it is right here that you're seeing? It's called burnish, and burnish is something that you do later after you slowly shades things in. Like after you combine your darks and your lights together and they look smooth, like they're one complete image, you then use burnish thereafter. But here's the thing, if you're going to use burnish thereafter, you have to consider the fact that you can't have those little stars in the sky, or those little white dots in the sky, if you're going to use burnish. Because if you're going to use burnish, they're going to streak, like they're going to make a smudge or a smirk once you start using burnish. So you should do stars in the sky after you do the burnish, or should I say, yeah, you do it after you do the burnish. Then you start putting the stars after the burnish. And burnish is just simply to make something looks more fluid. Kind of like if you put shoe polish on your shoe, and then you use a boot brush for the shoe polish to mix it in. It looks nice and it's mixed in, and your shoes look shiny, but it doesn't look glossy. That's what burnish is, to make the gloss. You would need the cloth itself to make the gloss, because the brush, the bristles of the brush, cannot give that fine smooth quality that you need to smooth all the shaded colors together, to mix them all together. That's why you need the cloth. That's what burnish is, kind of a representation of the cloth itself. And then after that, you start putting the little dots in the sky, the stars. And you don't mix your stars together. Like, see, a lot of these are mixed together, which is not really good. But I don't think they were intended for them to actually be stars. They're just intended for them to be rocks or filaments of rocks that light are reflecting on. That's from the ceiling. But the intent was to make it look like a sky, but it doesn't actually look like an actual sky itself. It looks like, you know, nothing but lots of dots in the sky. They're not separated like an actually sky or space itself. They're separated like a lot of them are together, like they're all bundle up together. So they're not separated. And that's what you want to do when you actually make space, but you also want to separate them. Too many of them are together here, which is not good. If the intention was to make space, this is not good. However, some of them are good, like these ones over here. That's good. And then at this space over here, that shouldn't be all bundled up right here. There should be a little bit more emptiness right here. And down below on the more light hazy blue section right here, that's also good, but then it shouldn't be too much also as well. There should be separation, and some of them should end here. And then there should be none over here, and only a little bit of dots over here. So if the intention was to make like a starry sky, they didn't hit that marker. They just put a lot of dots in the sky, if that was the intention. Everything else is okay, but those are the things that didn't actually hit the marker. Also, if you're actually looking, since this is not actually space itself, and we're not in a spaceship and seeing space from inside of a spaceship, so you can't look and find directly the constellations. You can't see things up close. You can't see the stars in the sky reflecting on some of the debris and stuff in space. You can't see those things. You also can't see what it is, the nebula of certain things when it comes to space. You can't see those because it's not really space. It's just supposed to be a light representation. So usually when you create stuff like that, you should have a silhouette set in place and then you move forward. Yeah, but that's all I could say about that. Stars in the skies and space itself is not that hard to do when it comes to art. What is hard is to have them combined together, burnish them together, then put variations of actually stars in the sky. Then you have some of them then you put some of those little stars to have a nice little glow to them, to make them look like they're more dominant, because those stars represent gigantic suns that are in distant places. So the intentions in this one was to give a starry sky, but it's not really a starry sky. It's just a race of an underground city. So or I wouldn't say they got it entirely wrong, because technically it's not space. They intended for it to look like space. So I don't know if it was 100% the way that they wanted to do it, but it's half right if you're actually doing space, and it's also half wrong. So I would say this is good. For something that's not supposed to be space, this is good. If the intention was to be full space, then this is bad, or half bad. But it's decent. I just wanted to say that before I get to that Radahn fight. So if my network go down, at least I was able to say this with regards to that, how this looks. So I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go to a Radahn fight. Khalid, and I've recently learned something about the Radahn fight. So this is not about origin. You can't find, you can't get those people, those NPCs that I wanted. You can't get those NPCs to show up to the Radahn festival. It's impossible to get them to show up to the Radahn festival because they're not supposed to show up. They're supposed to be like silhouettes of fighters who are going to participate in the Radahn festival. I also learned that if you finish the quest line of some of those NPCs and you terminate them, they will never show up to the Radahn. Their silhouette won't show up to the Radahn festival. A good example is Tragoth. I defeated Tragoth in battle. Got his bull goat armor and his greaves and his leggings. Yeah, his greaves and his gauntlets on his hands. I got all that stuff. But then when I showed up here for the Radahn festival, figuring I would get Okina here, Lionel here, and Tragoth here, the only person that's here now is Lionel and Okina. They were here before, and Tragoth was also here. So Tragoth isn't here now because I terminated Tragoth, but Okina is also here even though I terminated Okina. So the only thing that makes sense why Okina will still be here is that I never finished Okina's quest line. That's why Okina's here. Even though I took him out and I got his weapons and I got his mask, I never completed his actual quest line, or he never met me before in combat, invaded me before, and then I went to avenge him, or to avenge myself and then take him out. So I never got his full story NPC quest line. That's why he's still present here. At least that's what I'm assuming. And for Lionel the Lionheart, he's here because I can't get to him unless Radahn has been defeated. So I found this out as I was playing along, that you can't get to certain NPCs that are in this Radahn festival, this courtyard of the Radahn festival, until the Radahn is destroyed. So this character, Lionel the Lionheart, cannot be interact with until after is defeated. So my whole objective was to get as many of the 8 NPCs to show up, but they can't show up because it's impossible. They're already here. They were already here. Tragoth was here. Okina was here. Blythe is here. The woman is here. And Patches is going to show up on the battlefield. If you summon him, he will show up. He will things that I didn't know, and the game did not state specifically at all whatsoever, and you would never notice. You would never know. You would say, okay, I want to find out who this person is and who this person is and how they could show up, or maybe they're part of a quest line. But even if you were to complete their quest line, they would never show up here. And even if you try to find some of these characters, you won't find them because they only happen. Some of them will only show up after Radahn, or should I say some of them. Only Lionel will show up after Radahn. Tragoth, you could find Tragoth. Okina, you could find Okina. But none of them will show up here. They will always be in spectral form. So before, when I originally came here, all 8 of them are going to be here, and you could activate them in the combat against Radahn. But there's no way to actually get them to show up here, and there's no way to actually know how to complete certain characters' quest line unless you look at all that stuff online that the game should have given hints within itself of how to find them. If the game doesn't want to tell you straight out, it should have given hints. So I'll cut the shadow and I'll fight Radahn, and if I can't defeat him today, I'll try to finish him tomorrow. But yeah, all the people that were supposed to be here are here. I don't think Tragoth is going to show up to the battle because I defeated him and I finished his quest line, so Tragoth might not show up in the battle. But everybody else will show up. All 7 NPCs can be summoned minus Tragoth. but you can only have 5 of them to show up in battle at a time. So I'll have to choose very quickly which of the 5 will show up. I mean, if I press Patches, I'm gonna be kind of pissed off because he's weak as hell. But it doesn't really matter. I think I'm over level to fight him anyway. So if I die like 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 times, and then I beat him on the 11th or 12th times, that's still standard for someone who's over level. If you're under level, you'll probably die 20 or 30 times to him. And I'm no actually fanboy, crazed veteran and OP guy that plays that's expert at these games, so I had to make sure I up my strength a little. But I had no intention to be over level. I've just been exploring this world, fighting many bosses, and trying to find these NPCs to show up to Radahn's festival. And in order to do so, you have to go through a lot of combat, invasions, and bosses to get to these characters. So I was able to level up a significant amount and level up a lot of my weapons to a significant amount. So I'm going to yeah, I'm pretty sure, I'm 100% sure I'm pretty OP right now. But that probably doesn't mean jack squat against Radahn. So I'm going to try something out. I mean, I've been playing the game and exploring the world for a very long time. So I've been leveling up a lot. So this battle is not going to be something that's too hard, but it's not going to be something that easy either, because he can one-shot you. He has an attack that can one-shot you. He probably has 2 attacks that could one-shot you. So it doesn't even matter what my strength is, and my health is at 40. So if my health goes away, it doesn't matter what my armor resistance is. I'm screwed. Alright, so alright, so for this battle, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to try at least 4 things for this first battle, and I'll see how it works out. I'm going to make sure I keep on. I'm going to throw some spells. I'll make sure I have my dex up. I'm going to make sure I have my faith up. Radahn is necessary. I'll make sure I have a shield just in case I get knocked off the horse. I'll need that shield. I'll make sure I have my dragon communion seal. It's not that strong, but I am going to use it for the rotten breath, the dragon rotten breath. I believe that is scarlet rot, and Radahn is weak to scarlet rot. And then I'm going to use Golden Vow, and then I'm going to use this one. Hopefully I use this one. For some strange reason that doesn't activate. Then I'm going to use the last one. So I'm going to put these things in order, and as soon as the battle starts, I'm going to dodge. As soon as I get close to him, I'm going to cast an attack. I'm going to dash and cast a spell. Probably hit me a couple of times, or I'll probably die. So maybe casting slow spells against him won't be a good idea. But if I could get the rotten breath out on him at least once or twice, I believe the rest should be fine. What I need to do is I need to allocate my flask. I don't think I'll need more than 3. But if I'm going to use a wand against him, I'm going to probably need 4. So it's a combination of 2 things I'm going to use. I'm going to use magic against him and physical strength. So I'll need to boost up my FP. So make sure that's spread out pretty good. And magics I'm going to use is Golden Vow, Order's Blade, Rotten Breath, and yeah, I don't think yeah, Scarlet Rot. Yeah, definitely Scarlet Rot. And then this is the one I wanted to use more than anything, because those enemies have like this heat-seeking needles that puncture straight through you, and they'll follow you anywhere you go. It's a pain in the ass. So it doesn't matter where Radahn runs to, this thing is going to follow him, even if he dodges it. Yeah, and those are going to be cast each of those at least once. And then once my FP is out, it could go at a good distance, take a good, drink of cerulean tear, flask of cerulean tear, and then up that, and go back into battle. And yeah, I'm gonna see if I could fight him on turret. So I don't know if this is going to work. Significantly negates net damage. Yeah. Then I'm gonna use this, and then eliminates FE's consumption. So this is the first thing I'm going to do. As soon as I get into battle, after I dodge him, I'm going to drink that physics. And then I'm going to drink that physics, and then I'll start casting spells. As many of them as possible. But the sucky part, see, that's the sucky part about that. Then he won't give you opportunity to start casting anything. So even if you drink the flask, you can't be on your horse while you're doing it. So you got to do all this, and then you have to dodge his arrows. Then you have to get close enough, drink it, and then cast the abilities. And if he closes in too much, you're dead. So my best bet is to. I really want to hit him with rotten breath. But I also want to, I don't know, let's see how it goes. And I organize my my flasks. Yeah, I organize my flasks this way. So this will be the first thing I drink. Cast a lot of spells. If I take a hit, go here. Then I go back all the way around. Oh no, wrong one. Alright, so drink this, cast a lot of spells, take a hit, drink this, replenish my health, cast more spells, bypass this, get a hit again, drink this, and yeah, that's how it's gonna go. So make sure the golden vial's there first, and then the next one's gonna be cast thereafter. And this one is going to be rotten breath, and then the last one is going to be needles. Once I run out of FP, I'll keep a distance, then I'll close it in again. And I'm going to start this fight.
see what you're made of. Into the fray together. Let's see what you're made of. celebration of war. The stars have aligned. The festival is nigh. General Radahn, mightiest demigod of the Shattering, awaits you. Champions, prepare for battle. Defeat the general, claim glory, and grab that great rune. A celebration of war. The Radahn Festival!
Yeah, another thing, I usually fight in the mornings because I really can't see. Um, yeah, I'm past that point. I would say in my life where I'm starting to have a lot of eye issues, seeing something, even if a screen is big. So fighting at night is never good for me. So that's why most of my videos are in mornings of anything I play. Unless they actually give you, I mean, they give you the torch, but in a big battle, you don't want to be using a torch. So I had to make a morning for this one. It probably won't make a difference or whatsoever at all, because it probably meant for the area to be dark. But I had to make it morning simply because I can't see, man. Like my screen is not even that small either. It's pretty decent. So I mean, I need better glasses. Another thing I found about this game that's kind of messed up is that sometimes you turn something on, and then you turn it off, and then you turn it back on, and it doesn't go back on again. I put this item on to increase my robustness and focus. Didn't go back on. I take it off. I'll wait for a while. Put it back on. Doesn't go back on. I'm gonna go by the grace again, sit down, then I'm gonna take it off and put it back on again. So I've been finding issues like this through the game as I've been playing. How certain things just won't come on, and you won't even know if they're on or not, or active, or they simply won't go on at all. So that's probably a coding issue. I mean, even if it is active, there's no indication that it's active. See, it was glowing before on my body, but it's not glowing again. I don't know, maybe it's not supposed to actually be active until you're in combat, but it was active there, so either way is bad. So I'm gonna play this. No more interruptions or delays.